In addition to being an accomplished poet, is a filmmaker of no small renown. She graduated from Radcliffe College back when there was a Radcliffe. Maybe there still is a Radcliffe. There's a Radcliffe.
Harvard degree.
There's a Radcliffe
It was
graduate program in the 60s. She has taught at several universities, including NYU, the Massachusetts College of Art, and Hampshire College. She's been the chair of the Film and Animation Department at the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston since 2000. She is the winner of the Rome Prize, the Radcliffe Institute Fellowship, Guggenheim and Fulbright Fellowships, the Stan Breakage Award. She's had numerous retrospectives worldwide, including at the Harvard Cinematheque, the Cineteca in Rome, and Image Forum in Tokyo. Her work has been exhibited at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Whitney, the Centre Pompidou, the Museo Reina Sofia, and in numerous international film festivals, including New York, Rotterdam, Locarno, and London.
Huh.
Her filmography includes, I'm almost done.
We're all just going to die now.
Salome, Elsa Merdelhammer, Unbound, A Shape of Error, a feature on Percy Shelley, Suburban Trilogy, and that only goes back as far as the year 2010. Her publications include Is This What You Were Born For? This is called Mourning, A Critical Poetics of Film from the University of Alabama Press, Artificial Memory from Belladonna, Scatter Matrix from Roof, Mob from O Books, and From Solids also from Roof. As Maureen Dream writes, Abigail Child has an exquisite ear for rhythms and meaning. Just as her ears are sensitive, her eyes are sharp and subtle. She uses repetition and variation as honed tools of a precise montage, a montage that is attuned to intervallic structures and associative irony. She is a postmodern constructivist. New angles on the ways in which words and image come together to make meaning. She is a semiotic poet of the fragment, a gatherer of measured, treasured works. Her films are like her poetry, a distilled collection of images and sound. Please welcome Abigail Child.
Whoa, yeah. We're confused. Who are you?
I have been finishing up a big film, so often when I edit, I sometimes start at the back, reverse it, just to give myself something new. And in order to give you something new, and myself in the reading, I'm going to be reading a poem from one of my early books. It's the last poem. It's called Lust. And I'm going to be reading it in reverse, not reverse words or sentences, but the pages, because it's in like 8 pages. So, Lust. An eye forms the artificial rose of its agreement. Motors margin words to life. Then think. Reflection is no substitute. You know, I was strongly attracted at the start of the details of them. Apertures, kiss from behind, every form of design. Entirely, but anything I could say now would be anticlimactic. This exaggerated light restructures color. Time reflects the thickness of its details. The imagination in the thickness of static. Hoopla, hoopla, an embedded flame. Sentences attract, they all but dismantle. The noise recognizing its theme, the means reorganizes my attachment. And here we steal the agreement to penetrate a society that defines being by having. But how can this prick frighten people? Their very cussing tasted of pain. We get close, we grow tender, a sequence of the Westerner, of the ante, of the extra six and sugared dailiness to you, bub. Just clothes pulled together, deposits under the ice. This topology of the future zoomed in on the space of successive lust. We want what is needed. The condition of the parts beneath the sound emitted. The wedding of human actions by people who saw it all. The radioactive sky, motherfucker, just for the hell of it. Now what have we here? These code words that baffle. Ranger, buster, jangle, tumbler, snapper, upshot, knothole, teapot. Why I want the round water strange and not the expropriated exotic parts. It stops. Until the day sits in on top of the credenza and the vital eneric voodoo become your nostalgic hypnosis. Butterfly bites the arrogant cliff and dies. What's left is the balance of our outdated eagerness, infatuated, surrounded, ambushed, and liturgical, at the core of our genitals, in the foreplay of your rehearsal. Burrowing in. A cubism of athletic events and the wished-for end of your clientele. So violated and so crucial, so ascetic and so executed, so inflammable, so liquid, so as to produce delirium dreaming, making nice sitcom. Just grunt, an aberrant synchrony to nascent magnet, and the allergy our mind's shadow. National deceit offers an analog, accelerating surrogates in the light of history, and the tone of what was sold deteriorates. Important matchboxes bugger the table. That causeway smokes to amplify. Battery of way drills, consequent rosaries, and the mugs of their howls closeted in flame. Bed springs become the ultimate cookie. Pork chop trees while the words want to jump. Empire's taunt pulls on us. We supplicate the necessity to misrepresent sallies, to centipede spirals and humps of flaxy floral nights, blooming in settings of gynecological gold, liquid and impulsive. Investitures play recuperation, while banks monitor disconsolate societies, and unconsolidated holiday projections are given experience in reflection's language attitude. Empire's taunt pulls on us, redirecting vortices before original kisses to reconstruct the sky, cinematically useless despite appearance. Thousands of the signal turn immediate lips to the small, blunt world. The infant processes the confidence in its most extreme form, hurts. She is kissed, interrupts, kissed, blows, subjected to food and bodies who pay you. A symbolic gesture is intensified. This is plausible, but it happens to be wrong. Through steroids of annihilated fragrance, by counterfeit of my counterpart, before the fornication of adorable birds, I write. You reflect on this extravagant jeopardy, boistering my mackinaw, explaining in decibels of sirens so gorgeous, I calculate, I'm forced to. While evaluating my denial, your sedative penetrates the dildo, alienates the disinfectant, infects the theater, flaws the alliance, and all evaporates. Night sleeps, innumerable, inadequate, and occasionally unnoticed.
Nice. What's it like for you to read that backwards?
Interesting.
Yeah.
It works. It works.
Yeah.
To me, it works. It's always hard final sentences in a poem. You know, sometimes they just come, and sometimes they're too perfect, or they sum up wrongly. So it's interesting to go backwards and realize, okay, it could end there.
Begin with unnoticed.
Yeah. So I'm going to read from another book called Scatter Matrix, and I was the first Fulbright to Russia when it became Russia as opposed to SSSR, and it was a strange moment in history because it was going from communism to a kind of pseudo-capital, I guess, and the word that kept coming up both in my mind and in the poetry was deterritorialization, and I feel like we're in a funny related space now with where are we going to be between democracy and autocracy, and you know, we're seeing something like it. So I thought this is a poem called Necrorealism. Okay, so there will be direct references to Russia, but I think there's a readout here. And then there opened up before me the gates of a universe, which I scarcely dare dream about. Oh, come on. The weather is good to stand in line. If history is to be creative, to anticipate a possible future without denying the past, it should, I believe, emphasize new possibilities by disclosing those hidden episodes of the past, where even if in brief flashes people showed their ability to resist, to join together, occasionally to win. If the order is reversed, a different pattern is observed. Being as blunt as I can, then deliberately she put out the lights in her eyes, but it was still there on her lips, glimmered against her will in her faintly susceptible smile. Silently, daring not to breathe, the official figure was slavish, unabled, a muffled up man being crushed. From Monday to Friday, from the beginning of May to the end of July, upon his return from Siberian exile in early 1900, Lenin was forbidden to live in St. Petersburg, Moscow, and all the industrial and university centers of Russia. At first, her reading made no progress. An occurrence that is an accident versus a deluge. To substitute one thing for another, to intoxicate and suggest, the essential method of the fiction film approximates it to a religious influence and makes it possible after a certain time to keep a woman in a permanent state of overexcited unconsciousness, full of beauty and convincing realism. The revolution starts on Sunday, January 9th, 1905, with a peaceful march of the workers of St. Petersburg, more than 140,000 people, to the Winter Palace, excursion number 3. As if listening to the explosions above him, who made an interruption into her apartment and smothered her with smacking Russian kisses. Eating your past, a kind of necrorealism. My own wardrobe isn't large, Lenin used to say. Her charm was in that particular combination of manly young man's ways. I would even say her male businesslike air with the extreme lyricalness, maidenliness, girlishness of her features and outline. There are drawbacks to these optical amalgamations. Better to be the hammer than the nail, says Tanya. In 1973, construction of 5-story walk-ups, which but 10 years earlier had accounted for 82% of all the housing built, was discontinued. With a sudden turnabout of his whole body, although it is strange to say his whole body, seeing how very little the whole was, and how very much it was not a body, directing at me the whole bird of his body. Now, write a dictation, having just done something else, very lovely, very lonesome, already walking. The Neva is a comparatively young river, no more than 2,500 years old. Even his skull, with that inexhaustible energy of growth we call hair, that was hard, was physically perceptible as the surface of the Earth's sphere, which in spring burst forth with abundance, ground carpeted in white violets, cuckoo birds crowning birches, ice on the beaches. But what am I doing in this dreamland? Somewhere or other, anywhere, from somewhere or other, from anywhere, when sometime or other, somehow, some way or other, in any way, we use the present tense in the dependent clause, even though the meaning clearly is future. Yeah. Now, clouds in the sky swim in the vast blue emptiness and meet in so many combats and duels that if I could only snatch a tiny part to put into books or films, I would not have lived on this earth in vain.
Good.
That twist was only the natural extension of the head, its innate completion and outer limit. There's a certain level of frustration blemished by glaring failure. A cue for nothing, a cast of stupid lips. As a child of the symbolist epic, as the epic's heroine, what could be more important to her than the color of her eyes? Pulling a flap of the jacket toward me, happy that I've found a wordless, diverting occupation. So much the better, my dear. The newest picture has come on screen reversed. Okay. Now, I'm going to do one that's funnier, but also sad, because it's all found material, which I often do for some of my films, and of course it reflects a it's called Earbud in Love. Okay, let's talk interference. Take this seizure to win. Logo yourself. Meet the new potential. A belt clip statistic transforms RF energy into body-warm operation. Go behind the scenes of memory. Submit your trauma. More daily trauma-ramas. Disconnect from world, while machine-readable pizza, pin-locked to distract us from winter's unpleasantness, picks your indignity. There's a do to match your diagnostic. Whatever your sublicense is, tie a metallic piece of data to party software. Comb a smoothing MPEG, fingerprint your thigh. Wear what you download. You can be vaporized. Simulate and still look gossamer. Determine molecular amuse mates. Articulated legs pop out, open on both sides and firing. What's next from sensation? Condensation of partners, concessions from mufflers, dense at age 4, more trauma-rama, output my thoughts, totally harsh glamourai, tap, the brain of Emmanuel Pinch, tap, elevating uneasiness, tap, warm-up copy, tap, the zoom of a quitter, tap, lightsaber your wrenches, tap, grow your own lashes, miniaturize your mind, a new way to brown bag it, including auto-declassifiers, neural net bras, and algorithmic contentment. Individual eyes snap on. Love by pressing home button in contacts. Worsties blend out. Available foregrips change up. Switch between no comment and solitaire. Your must-haves. Glossy widgets with Gen Active deployment. Fork over cash. The real takeaway. Impulse buys, 110% voluntary. Collectively clueless, interuterine updos gurgle. Shrink wrap the personal. Assume your tender spots. Well-endowed robots crack. Moon lips a la soldier. I call hers Kim Jong-il. Spiffy mini tabs, haggle, period. Packing volumizer hobo bags for lady malls rocking yo-yo dysfunction. Synthetic youth stalks non-tested emotion, stands up and cries. Who's paying for that war? Bandage dresses? Caveat emptor, making it multicam. Uniform simplifies costume. Previous versions include woodland, argyle, camo. Your number one pixelates her particulars, enters to win incarceration. Shop your head off, shop your heart out. Your closet won't know precision machined abuse. Stands up to harsh recall, a killer bag reformulated with stuffing, aiming to handle body housings like no other intermediary. She wins rabbits in an alternate manga. Warriors, sit down in front. Get the latest content. Ask someone.
Yeah.
We're back. Air dried, scrunch your hiatus, get your battleship on. Experience the low setting. All the way in, doll. No comment. Insert page break, micro psyops, assault future shell rally. Hey, it's okay to be signed up. It's okay to be checked out. A secondary result of the first. How to get superfluid, sexy momentum. Find your new variants, look here. Am I normal? Commercial? Recreational? Military products behind closed doors. Hot pink deuterium. Ultimate survival in bright jasmine. The impossible gets closer every day. Initiate your body armor. I can't make this up. Can't make this up. Cat shit 1 is available. You need a pair of Promote Me pumps. Tightly bound polybody. Halo Corporation responds using applicator dosage and curvier style rifles. Featuring go-back reactions in a gun-toting public. The firearm blog. Nail that look. You must get spectators and kill. Your geeks are meteorites. Do gold leaf your butt. Check out your Girl's Guide to Boys Wear. What if you could grow young? Actually, catalytic pre-employment emittance. Meals help. Start practicing belly dancing and meditation. Read my blog. Can you pass the flop test? You need to soften the look. Nihilist vamp gets an early start on mortality. Worms unite. Legs open, this is your sex type libido talking. Dear old something or other, fashion the dictator, mini-me still an issue, canoodling with tech support. Product feeds the machines with a chain-like charm. I think we like wrong things.
Wow.
So these are newer works and probably dark as well. This is untitled right now. There's a lawlessness in the air on screen in offices, a kind of petulance under an aura of violence. It comes through corporate land grants and underground wires, snakes over buildings and taps it to hacking. It's larger than a person. Busting communitarian blooms. Affronted bluster of yes men, taunts of might makes right, frightening leer of skulls, gawk. Yet the picture is of lower definition than ever, wanting to riot while silence is large. And strangers keep cleaning their cars, bounded by cataclysm's detachment, purchased by bottles and cans, building nations in fences and iron wiring. Their clean cars more valued than bodies. The bodies unsupported are enemies officially, marking a failure with no fallback, a detachment of content from indifferent bodies, with no mindset for testimony. Self has a social portion, a fashioned hieroglyphic, created with ASCII characters and a keyboard. This way of being so distorted, so voluted. At rule, the energies in an uproar, the stomach hard to fill. While the regime of things have become our dream goods, through corridors of delivered boxes to power up the lead men, the skulls who've run inside and locked their gates, tying a string on a vulnerable organ, tightening it until it dies, shrunken, diminished, squeezed. These words, disembodied or forged, are hard to write, leaving the acknowledgement of nightmare to corridors through a region slowly coming apart, where civilians, predictably distant, live while underground people wire their thoughts, which snake behind states and borders crossed. The longer this nightmare lasts, the more they argue for Mars, confounding trees with escape, mistaking altitude for land. And this is called Crosshairs, and it's got a funny setup. Each page is a different structure. Right wit construct, sound of permission cream, unstuck metal on my ornita, rust anew grill on retina, systematic intuition cement, genital flat beetle, discs ma'am as disidentification, text in warm-up resistance, mambo morphing, canon, as hum meter, cover, construct resistance is the lost word, is inside out. Give me object pause. Give me sound of spinning bio-nipple hottie. Give me block on honey. Give me anxious, my inner high heels. Describe careening chatty crotches. Sting is inside surface. Candy interior decorating Scheherazade. Undeflected by bumper sticker nipple. The night encloses. Open transport. Does size matter? Constituting capacity sticker, enclosing open to transport pleasure as it is, dangling its honey riff, vernacular, effective layers, sort of matter, requires semi-organized drifts, technically trapped caresses shift. It's mindfuck.com, body.org, backspace.edu, airworld.net, mimicking corporate e-toys with evil figures link, virtual art and cookies as a screen, making surveillance a prototype, a euphemistic dating service to unfold in international traffic remaining no less appropriatable. Poetic terrorism cannot be visible, is useless, a source of life about the global inevitable. Branding techniques are gated soft drugs. Cop crotches are Monsanto recoding natural products as copyrighted material. We're only a few seconds ahead of enveloping machines. Every formal attitude can be co-opted, so can content, so that cultural strategies need to be flexible. The academic cells look anemic. Migrant regions picket heroic essentialism as early as 1792. Documents interned in the photographs attest to error. The prices have never looked back. Product becomes place, becomes promotion, new ways to say yes. Updated individual is a perpetual marketing event. Country-wise, indicators of corporate control remit, while cartoons soothe the links of the least worst syndrome. Civilian landmarks read it as repro. Disguised as a person, the corporate death penalty will work. Please come to be sociable. What can be said is everything. What is unbearable is content.
Yes.
This is spellbound. How the flat world century reassembles itself, almost ensorcelled. Glowing jewel tones would be illuminated species, and our world reflects that. Within the kaleidoscope of triumph we peer into, hypnotized enmity floats by, and memes stream seemingly infinite possibilities, while stars remain paper thin. Consciousness is torched illusion neurons of memory leadership, a so-called mesmerization reality, where TV screen actors hijack as mass media statesmen. More pretending, too soon to be over? Is this then the hopeful hope that sweet would mingle crystal with our vibrating American piano stars, that the daughters in the stadium, family in the palace, across the echoing white voice with a thorax house that slaves' resonance built, could sustain a layered world, could talk between ourselves and those selves larger circles than our friends, that palpable and working class aches could be forged, not splintered, spelled, not broken, mad for something inchoate. Why reach across at all? To understand, to change the consequence, to scratch the itch of ignorance, to dig through walls, to change whose vision, to widen what, to believe in the arc of justice, to find the winning side. What is the opposition? Who claims it? Whose bodies are vital? Where does right reside? In a field of frightened masculinity, life is on the front line, holstered, trapped, clouded under separation's tide. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of was going to end there, but for Pierre's thing, I'm going to read some outtakes, and I thought I'd end with a few outtakes of my own. I'm a gardener, and it's always hard to figure out how to get the glory of a garden in poems. So this is just little pieces. Landscape is so emotional, like a hip episode of the infinite. Thundering daily midst intermittent sun, night explodes in garlands of light, a filigree of neon moons, startling assumptions, as if nothing can be predestined or minds have to open. A window reflects the sun, inflects the ground, world on you evolves, belting the sky with light, ice dropping down. We strip and cool each other's scatter, periphery of primrose panting, unsubmissive and renowned excellently. Fleshy peas in sybaritic Epicurean communications, as if outreach is touch, forget-me-nots gone wild, the canopy of our sorrows, that joy so ripe, so little keep. The atmosphere eats without comment, computes stamens, translates rendezvous to glissando, while other antonyms in sight fashion signals attesting to a new fashioned stick-up of promo as power or ego as consequence. Elsewise, to consider the disease of Earth's abandonment that you necessitate. Okay, during COVID, you're stuck in your house, and I love Francis Ponge, and I love his sense of giving objects their due. So this is just a little bit of one on the geranium, the humble geranium. To pulse oneself to propel, I don't know, it doesn't even sound like it's part of that, but it is. To pulse oneself to propel a throbbing, to vibrate with light, to feel flesh as a body, as a species, as a fact of living focused in recognition of color, as a pleasure, as a surge, as rapture. No asides, but a panoply of tender, open to the sensate, wary of the sentimental, making what is possible to say this with more happiness, more exactitude. Okay, I'll end there.
Brava.